It's about 20 after 5 and we turned this yesterday and we're at what, 95-ish, right about 95. So she's still composting a little bit. It's looking good though. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to As the Compost Turns, number 4. It's been a couple weeks, so it's time. We're still running about right there. It is 70. See, no, we're still about 100 degrees, but it's needing some water. It's needing to be turned. Let's just take this apart here. We're just going to put it on the ground for this next turn. And then I'm guessing it's probably going to go, it's going to slow down after that. Turn it one more time, get it back on this pallet, and just let it age for a while. I don't want to step on that. I don't want to step on that. That'll break. Let's get this out of here. All right. We are just going to start flipping it here. You can probably hear the grackles. They're a little bit nervous with me right here. They come every spring and they nest in these elderberries here, and they're nesting right now. They got babies in there. Yeah, they get a little nervous with me here. It's looking pretty good. It looks a lot different than it did a couple weeks ago when we first put this pile together. And it smells a lot different too. Not a real strong odor right now. Okay, so officially this is turn 5. I know I got a little bit turned around on my counts. But this pile is beginning to tell us a very different story than it did during those first few turns. And one of the biggest changes I'm seeing is temperature. Earlier in the process, this pile heated rapidly as bacteria and other microorganisms worked on the easily available food sources. We watched those temperatures closely and used them to help determine when it was time to turn. Now those temperatures are beginning to come down, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It can be an indication that we're moving out of the very active thermophilic stage and into a slower stage of decomposition and maturation. And if you look closely, you can actually see that transition happening. The physical nature of this compost is changing. When we built this pile, we could easily identify the ingredients. The wood chips, the leaves, grass, alfalfa, coffee grounds, cracked corn, the moose droppings, and other materials that we added. Now they're becoming harder and harder to recognize. The material is darker, it's becoming softer and more crumbly. The particle sizes are getting smaller and smaller, and everything is beginning to look much more uniform. We're no longer looking at a pile of individual ingredients. We're beginning to look at compost. So this pile still needs moisture, it still needs oxygen, and it still needs time. And that's also why I don't want to keep turning simply because of a certain number of days have passed. As this pile matures, we're trying to create conditions that allow a more diverse biological community, including fungi and other organisms, to establish themselves. At this stage, patience becomes increasingly important. We're moving from simply breaking material down towards building something biologically stable. And that's really what this entire series has been about. We're not trying to make something that merely looks like compost. We're trying to create a biologically active material that we can eventually put back into the soil. Over the next several weeks, we're going to let that process continue. And before we're finished with this series, we're going to do something that I think is pretty exciting, being the soil nerd that I am. We're going to take some of this compost, put it under the microscope, and see who's actually living there. Because ultimately, that's the reason we've gone through all this work. We're not just making compost, we're growing biology, and healthy biology is the foundation of healthy soil. I'm Kent with By Design Soil, working with creation, not against it, and we will see you in the next video.